Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's 4:30 and we've only got 15 minutes, so I'm going to make a prompt start. A warm welcome to this session. My name is John Watkins. I'm the University of Law's Director of Employability. It is my responsibility to look after your employability development during your time with us as a student. I know there's going to be a wide variety of people potentially here, from those who have never met me before and are about to start at the university, through to those that have been at the university for a while and are very familiar with the employability service and try and get a piece of it every time there's something going on. I'm very privileged to lead the department that incorporates the careers service and pro bono at the university, two really important parts of the service that you're going to receive, perhaps even more important in the current times when careers opportunities and careers advice are going to be particularly critical, and any experience you can get through volunteering and supporting the community will not only be good for those who are receiving legal support from your efforts, but also for the community as well, which is in so desperate need of legal support. So in 15 minutes today, just going to briefly give you a couple of things to take away and think about, and really to sort of warm you up on this August day as you prepare yourselves for the next chapter of your development. And the question I'm going to get you to take away from today is to think about the question of why anybody would want you in their team. And ultimately, everything that we do within employability, all the support around CVs, interviews, workshops, etc., is all coming back to that end game of you want to be able to apply for a job and hopefully somebody will say, yes, I want to give it to you. And in their mind, why do I want this person to be in my team? Particularly when I've got lots of other people to consider. So I think for today, what I want you just to do is to have that overview in your mind and go into the September and period and beyond, thinking about this question about why would somebody want me to be in their team? Now, let's look at some examples that you can perhaps draw upon to give you some flavor as to how you can achieve that. So in the world of sport, team stuff is prevalent there. You've got Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, who are key figures within footballing teams. One of the primary reasons why they are an important part of a team is they're extremely good at what they do. They are really, really good footballers. If you take the netball analogy, Helen Houseby, one of the top players in the UK, she gets into the team on the first level because she's really, really good at netball. And therefore, the first message to you is that whatever other attributes you bring to the party, you have to be good at the core thing that you're going in to do. Now, whether that is a law role, whether it's a non-law role, whether it's a whole host of different activities, and of course, this translates not just to the workplace, but also why would somebody want you to be in their sporting team? Why would somebody want you to be in their quiz team? Why would somebody want you to be in their team of people doing other things? Is really about that underlying attribute that you are good at doing something. Now, in the sporting arena, people can show talent from an early age. It's not quite so easy in the professional environment. A lot of what you do in your early stages is about studying and taking exams and showing off your academic ability, which is a platform to get into the workplace. But actually, once you're in the workplace, is a whole set of different skills that come into play. So what that means is you start off on a day like today, looking ahead. My message to you is to work really hard. Study really hard, because if you can go in and say, look, I have studied my subject extremely well and I have done very, very well in it, I have proven myself to be at the top of my game in terms of my academic study, it puts you in a much, much stronger position than you have to start making excuses or start apologizing for not quite being where you want to be. So you've got an opportunity now to really go for it in terms of reaching that level. I am the Director of Employability. I'm good at employability, says he modestly, but I wasn't when I started out. I needed to get the opportunity to build on what I felt were solid foundations to go on and do it subsequently. And that's where you need to start. But in any scenario where someone is saying, why do I want somebody in my team? It's because you can do the core job effectively. But what else do they want? Well, they want you to be part of a team, and therefore team is about being around other people. It's about being able to contribute in a team scenario. It's about being able to extract the best from other people. And therefore, when you're looking at somebody being suitable for a job, you're looking at, can they work with other people? Not just with the people they like or get on with, but everybody in that team. And it could be a really diverse team, diverse in terms of age, backgrounds, attitudes, a whole host of different things that mean that you might not necessarily normally interact with such people. But again, an employer is looking for that ability for you to be able to interact with, support, and get on with a team. They're looking for people who have reliability, people who will turn up on time. When they come to a place, they are there and they are able to deliver something there and then. It's not about people that turn up late. It's not about people who forget to bring things with them. These are important habits for you to get into as a student, and they set the tone for why somebody would want you to be in their team. It's no good having someone who's brilliant when they eventually get there. You need someone to be there and brilliant at the same time. People need to be creative. You need to have something in you that says, I can add some value. I can bring something different to the party. And therefore, again, your creative juices need to start flowing at this early point in your thought processes to try and show that you've got something that actually, when a problem arises, you have the mindset that says, I can find a solution. Perhaps not from the obvious set of solutions, because it isn't always that straightforward, but I can come up with a creative way of coming to a solution. We want people who are commercially aware, people to understand how they add value and therefore why they should be employed. You want to have somebody who's culturally aware, aware of the diversity that you're going to find in the workplace and amongst your client base, and therefore with the ability to be able to get on with everybody and perform on a consistent basis. And to be a success in a team, you have to bring a positive attitude. Now, sometimes in the sporting teams, there's compensation made for people who don't bring the right attitude. Uh, they've got great talent, they've got great ability, but there's always that sort of frustration that perhaps they're not a team player, and the attitude is a bit self-centered. They're a bit me focused rather than team focused. And you can get away with it if you are the best of the best of the best. But let's realize that very few people are the best of the best of the best. So you want to be displaying a positive attitude. And a positive attitude is not just on the days when you are feeling really fired up and pumped up and on good form. It needs to be on the less good days as well. It needs to be on the days when you are perhaps feeling a little bit under the weather. Perhaps the weather itself is quite poor. You're going to get wet if you go outside. It's cold. It's miserable. You've not had a particularly good interaction with family or friends. You've had a row with somebody. Things are not so good as they might be. You can't say, well, there's my excuse, I won't be in good form today. Positive attitude when you're looking for someone to be in your team needs to be consistent on a daily basis. And it boils down also to other key things. You need someone who's ethical, someone who you can understand, knows the realities of what's permissible and what's not. There can be relatively fine lines sometimes. You need to make sure, whatever field of work you're going to go into, that you stick to the appropriate side of that line. Have the strength, the confidence, the appropriate professional behavior to recognize that there is a right and there is a wrong. And it boils down then to sort of the conclusion that in order to secure that precious job and to be somebody who is building towards that in the months and years ahead, you have to be trusted. You have to do things that people have faith in what you can deliver. So you need to be strong on the ability to actually do the job, to do it as part of a team, to be reliable, ethical, trustworthy, creative, all of those attributes. Now, on the slide you have in front of you, and you're very welcome to contact me to get hold of a copy of this slide. One of my proudest moments in the last few weeks was doing a virtual session with a group of students, and we were all on camera, and one of the students had this picture behind them on their wall. That was a major moment for me. But what this picture shows is the sort of complexity of how we at the university are going to try and support you in developing the 2020 professional. So this will clearly go beyond 2020, but right here, right now, as you will discover with the university, we don't wait until 2021 and think we'll do it then. We're going to do it right now, and we want to interact with you. Certainly, if you are a student who has already committed your place to the university, then you are entitled to use the employability service, and we would strongly encourage you to take that step early on, whether it's to create your first ever CV or whether it's to take a really good CV and make it even better, whether it's for advice around how to use virtual technology if you're going to interact with employers or other parties through that way, or whether it's just simply a question about what you think you might want to do in the future and to get some things around that. And this diagram is there for you to digest at your leisure. Have a look at it. By all means, ask me, john.watkins@law.ac.uk, and I will send you a copy of it, because it details all the things I've talked about and more. It talks about financial awareness. It talks about problem solving. It talks about commercial awareness, delivering the product right time. It talks about client service, all of those things which are going to be so important to you as you begin to frame yourself as that professional figure for the period moving forward. Jade has kindly put my details in there. Jade showing positive attitude, that's noteworthy. Again, it's a strong feature that comes through from those people who really do have these attributes. It's not forced. It's not something you say, well, I must do this, otherwise, I'm not going to get a job, or I'm not going to impress John. It's you do it because it's part of who you are. And we can all develop and improve. And if some of it's not part of who you are at the moment, the opportunity will come as you move forward to develop that and to become that type of person. So you've got the email address there. The diagram is there for you to see. I use the word at the top in the red box of employ agility. And this is a word that's been bandied around quite a lot over the summer months. And I think particularly the second half of the word, the agility bit, which is about being really agile in a world that is really fast moving and complex. And we've seen in the last week or two with examination results and U-turns from the government and all sorts of things flying around, that it's not an orderly world we're living in at the moment, where things happen in a way that they used to happen and everybody followed through a set path. And that's in some respects, really frustrating and really difficult. But it's actually quite apparent that the working world has always been a little bit like that. Clients are not predictable. They will change their mind. Trains, if you're commuting somewhere, don't always work on time. Situations crop up that mean you've got to change things that you were planning to do. One client comes along, another client comes along, you've got to try and juggle and find ways of solving them. So that agility has always been there and always important. But perhaps now, particularly for you as a generation entering into the earlier stages of your career than people who, like myself, have been there for a while, this ability to be agile is going to be a real differentiator for you. And you'll need to be agile in your studies, because your studies are perhaps not going to be as straightforward in terms of exactly how you get to do things as they might have been a year or so ago. You're going to need to be agile about seeking opportunities and what those opportunities might be. And you just need to be agile in your attitude, willing to maneuver things around, think about things in a different way to perhaps how you would have done previously. And above all else, all of those things that you see featured on that graph are all things that you will get support from the University of Law, and specifically the Employability Service. If you were to interact to the max with us, then I would like to be able to say that almost all of those squares would be ones that you could confidently say, yes, I've got something in the tank that reflects that. Lots of different starting points, and it doesn't matter where you are. And I know there's some people here today who are yet to even go to university and may not even go there for a year or two. And there are others who are much more advanced in their journeys. It doesn't matter where you are. All of this sort of stuff is going to be really good. And you've got to listen to Darren, because Darren knows what he's talking about when he makes comments about the Employability Service. We'll do lots of straightforward things for you: careers advice, pro bono, interview technique, etc., and lots of out-of-the-box stuff. So stuff that demonstrates our ability to be creative, to be trustworthy, to be commercially aware. So you can look forward to virtual leadership opportunities, commercial awareness competitions, and lots more beside. I could go on for a lot longer, but it's 3:44, it's 4:44, and on that basis, I must make sure that I finish in time so that you can go on to your next step. Good luck. Come back to us. Engage with us. We're here for you. Jade.
Brilliant. Thank you, John. And you've managed to finish perfectly on time, which is fantastic.
Time management, really important.
Yeah,
employability
exactly.
skills.
Yeah, all of the ULaw presenters so far have finished on time to the minute. So that's obviously a quality that we all possess. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for John's session. As he said, he's popped his email address in there, so feel free to follow up if there's sort of any questions that you get. Darren's one of our Bristol ones, so I work quite closely with Darren, and he is fantastic at everything that he does. He's also got a legal blog at the moment, so I did think, as you'd mentioned it, John, I should probably give him a little mention as well. So I will pop in the chat. He's got a new blog and mentoring platform called The Legal Boost, so you can find him on LinkedIn and have a look at some of the stuff he does as well. So you've got 45 minutes now before the event finishes, so there are plenty of things for you to do. You can go into the expo area and try out one of the games. The virtual buggy racing is still running, and a couple of the other games are as well. There's a quiz in there. Or you can head to the main stage, and Guilty Pleasures are on, looking at some of the 90s and the 80s music. And also in sessions, we've got a legal influencer. So Harry has come in to talk to us for 15 minutes about the type of work that he does as well. But thank you very much everyone for joining, and thank you John for taking the time to deliver that session.